Okay. I heard about this. So Disney, they recently have announced that they have the Muppet Show on Disney Plus, and for their trailer, they started off on the wrong foot because they cropped it to widescreen, and the show was shot in 4:3. But apparently, on the actual platform, it's in the right aspect ratio, which is a good sign. But um, what's not a good sign is these unnecessary fucking disclaimers. So you have before certain episodes of the show, you have this disclaimer that's you cannot skip. It's a text that says these stereotypes were wrong then or are wrong now. And Disney has decided to leave them in order to acknowledge the offensive content's harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. People can't think for themselves anymore. People can't look at it as a product of its time and realize that our current political sensibilities, our current beliefs on what is offensive and what is off limits and what is unacceptable now were not the same back in the 70s and the early 80s. I hate that these companies and the media is perpetuating this bullshit because it's making people dumber. It's making people literally dumber because, oh, we don't have to think for ourselves anymore because the media is going to be thinking for us. Just use your head. Use your head, Snapperhead. Come on, just use it. It's not 2021 back in 1976 or 1981. And also realize it's a fucking TV show. It's the Muppets. It's the Muppets we're talking about. People just need to get over it and stop being such fucking pussies about this kind of shit. Come on now. It's the Muppets. We have to give disclaimers for the Muppets? Give me a fucking break. Truly isn't easy being green, apparently. And not only that, there's an entire episode that's banned. And the reason for that is they were originally going to have Richard Pryor host, but a staff writer named Chris Langham came in and hosted. And this episode is banned because Chris Langham, long after the fact, after he hosted the show, was convicted of owning child pornography. And it's like, yes, that is messed up. But why do we have to retroactively punish and cancel shows or episodes and try to erase them nowadays from existence instead of just providing them to the audience so they can do with them what they will? You're not hurting anybody by having that episode available. You could have a disclaimer if you want saying, da 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 da, this guy was convicted of blah 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 blah, if you want, and people can just watch it if they want and not watch it if they want. Because people should have the option to watch it, period. Because by completely erasing it from existence, you are trying to make everyone else who was not even involved in child pornography at any point in their fucking lives, who were working on the show, implicit in some way with the actions of this fucking scumbag later on in his career and his life. We need to stop doing this shit. And to stop acting like it's acceptable to erase history because such and such happened later, or so and so got busted for this, or this offends current sensibilities. Just stop. Just fucking stop it already. But the thing is, I can't do anything about it. because I'm not the one that holds the power. It's the media that holds the power and the ability to stop this. And they're not going to, because for some fucking reason, they have decided as a whole to kowtow to bow down to the Twitter mob who gets triggered and offended over the fucking Muppet show. So we're never going to see that episode unless somebody bootlegs it. I'm just not a supporter or a defender of trying to erase history and trying to act like certain things didn't happen or certain events didn't occur because of such and such. I mean, one of the worst examples of this is 9/11. I understand it was a tragedy. It was a horrible event in American history, but that does not mean that we need to erase the Trade Center. We need to erase the Twin Towers from history. You've got episodes of shows that aren't aired on TV anymore because they had the Twin Towers in them. You have shows or films that actually get them edited out. How is this supporting the legacy of the Twin Towers? How is this supporting the people who died and perished in that building, or the people who died trying to save people who needed help in that building, by erasing the history of the Twin Towers and acting like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore because it doesn't exist anymore now. It never existed back then. I don't understand the logic. I don't get it. How many people really are offended that other films in the past, like the 70s King Kong film or otherwise, have the Twin Towers in them, when the Twin Towers were still there and were a fixture in New York and in American culture and architecture? Why do we have to do this whole thing where it's like, oh no, we can't show that because 9/11? I don't get it, because in a lot of ways, you're letting the terrorists win by trying to erase the Twin Towers from history, from American history, because it's offensive for some reason. How are the towers themselves offensive? Just because there was a terrorist attack and they got blown up and a lot of people died, how are the towers themselves offensive? What's offensive, what's wrong is the terrorists and the attack itself, not the building. But for some reason, people can't separate the two. Just like people can't separate their current sensibilities and their political beliefs from shows from 30 years ago, like the Muppet Show. It's just unbelievably ridiculous to me. It's absolutely absurd that we are at this point now where we have to have disclaimers in front of the fucking Muppet Show.